And we're keeping a close eye on Radar 3000 for the potential for a couple of isolated severe thunderstorms, which won't be out of the question tonight. What threats they pose and when they end, I have the answer.
Plus, it's been 20 years since a deadly tornado hit the Stoughton community. The impact on residents 2 decades later.
And the Fitchburg bar, Monkey Shines, has a new name and a new look. We'll have a preview of this improvement for community safety.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to News 3 Now at 5. I'm Susan Simon.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric Franke has the night off.
We start with the forecast. It's been on and off rain all day today, most of the weekend as well, and there is a potential for some severe weather in our viewing area. Alex Harrington is back tonight. Welcome back, Alex.
Yes, welcome back, and we're still tracking severe weather. We had severe weather, and we have the potential for more severe weather as we go into the evening. Isolated, though, is the key word here. We're not expecting widespread severe weather, but keeping an eye on thunderstorms in southwest Wisconsin, one near the Boscobel area, another that has popped up near the Highland area just north and west of Dodgeville, and just in right now, keeping another eye on a thunderstorm down near the Dickeyville area, just south and west of Platteville. And we're keeping a close eye on these thunderstorms because they are in an environment that's still just unstable, just humid enough for the potential for one or two of those storms to possibly become severe. And also adding to this, we have rotation in the atmosphere. An area of low pressure is situated right near the Viroqua, right near the La Crosse area. And what that does is that allows for winds to be at the surface, and as you go higher up in the sky, a little bit of a twist. And National Weather Service in La Crosse is keeping a close eye, as are we with Radar 3000, on the potential for any of those showers and isolated thunderstorms to briefly possibly spin up a funnel cloud or a brief tornado. Future track, though, taking any thunderstorm activity largely from Madison, areas along the Wisconsin River, I-94 and south, eventually out of here by the time we get towards 9, 10 o'clock this evening, with the primary threat here. Again, we can't rule out that potential for a brief spin up, but heavy rainfall in areas that see repeated thunderstorms yet this evening, and certainly some gusty winds out there. And keeping a close eye on our First Warn Weather Cam network right now. We'll look at that Platteville camera when we return here coming up in Mean Weather. And today again is an infamous day. The Stoughton tornado 20 years ago at this very time, causing significant damage in parts of Dane County. I think Armand has lots more to say about that big day.
That's right, Alex. And right now we're talking about this day in 2005. Wisconsin experienced the most tornadoes in one day, 27, including what was then an F3 tornado over the Stoughton area. As
Armand Rahman found out, the monstrous storm continues to leave an unforgettable impact 20 years later.
That's right, Susan and Sarah. Residents and first responders tell me 20 years is not nearly enough to erase the destruction or the community resiliency that the tornado brought about. The F3 tornado left a trail of 100 destroyed homes in its wake and knocked out power for several days in Pleasant Springs and Stoughton. Martin Lamers was the fire chief in Stoughton at the time. He was the incident commander that day and said without electricity, it was hard to get a scope of that damage until the next day.
They made arrangements for the DNR to fly their plane over the area as soon as the sun came up, and they actually plotted out the full course of the tornado. So then we realized this thing is really enormous.
Enormous is one way to put it. 20 miles that the tornado was on the ground, moving parallel there to Route 51. And tonight at 6, hear from a homeowner who was in the process of taking his daughter to college, only to come back and have to rebuild his house. Sarah and Susan.
Pretty unforgettable. In other news, the woman charged in a deadly crash who was arrested by federal immigration agents has been returned to the Dane County Jail. 30-year-old Noelia Martinez Avila from Honduras is accused of killing 2 teenagers near DeForest while driving while intoxicated. Martinez Avila posted the original bond and was arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement less than an hour later. A judge raised her bond to $5 million and ordered her to be returned to Dane County.
Madison police are looking for 2 people who allegedly robbed a business on Saturday night on the east side. The robbery was on East Washington Avenue around 11:30. Police say one person went behind the counter and threatened an employee. Another asked a different employee where the safe was. Both suspects fled the scene before police arrived. If you recognize them or if you have any information related to the robberies, police ask that you call either number on your screen.
Well, back in June, the Fitchburg City Council voted to renew the alcohol license of Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill.
This after the bar faced homicide and other police calls, leading to concerns about public safety. With more on the next steps, Jalen Banks is live in Fitchburg this afternoon. Jalen?
Sarah and Susan, just behind me is what was formerly known as Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill in Fitchburg. Now, after a full rebrand, the business will now be known as Cornerstone Grill. Now, just this past May, a stabbing homicide occurred at the business, and this would lead the Fitchburg Common Council to reconsider whether or not they would renew the alcohol license of the business. Now, at that same Common Council meeting where it was voted upon as whether or not the license will be renewed, Fitchburg Police Chief had cited multiple statistics as far as the activity at Monkey Shine's business. Over 200 calls of service and 28 arrests had been made at the bar since November of 2021. And at the Common Council meeting in June, where the discussion as to whether or not the license would be renewed, the owner of Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill had proposed multiple changes to the business to try to distance itself from some of the activity at the business. And this included changing its closing time from 1:30 a.m. to 11 p.m., create a more family-friendly environment through its menu and a remodel of the business, as well as a complete name change, something that we've discussed here this evening. Now, as Cornerstone Grill, the business is looking to, write a new chapter in its story, again, further distancing itself from the brand of Monkey Shine's and a lot of the activity that had gone on at the bar over the past several years. I've reached out to Cornerstone Grill for an interview and a comment. They say at this time they're not taking, media availability and things of that nature, just because they've just reopened as Cornerstones, and once they get their footing underneath them with this reopening and rebrand, then they'll eventually speak to media. When that becomes available, I'll speak to the business, as I've been following this story for months now. But I'll send it back to you guys in studio. For now, reporting live in Fitchburg, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
All right, Jalen, thank you. The Textile Arts Center of Madison is reopening at a new location on South Park Street in September, and they're hosting 2 free events to celebrate. An opening exhibition reception highlighting quilts is set for 5 to 8 p.m. on Saturday, September 5th, with an open house and community day on Sunday from 1 to 4. The center will offer classes in crochet, paper arts, knitting, sewing, and much more.
And now to a quick programming note right now. This Wednesday, WISC-TV and Television Wisconsin will activate 2 new transmitters. This upgrade will provide antenna viewers with a better and clearer picture of our programming. However, you will need to rescan your TV after the launch to receive improved signal. To do this, you open your TV's menu, select Settings, and then choose Channel Scan or Auto Tune. We also have all of these instructions on our website, channel3000.com/rescan. And a very important note, if you already have a regularly clear signal, there is no need to rescan.
When we come back, a stormy start to the week, but is it going to feel like fall very soon?
Good question. Alex is back with the first warned forecast with some possible severe weather on the radar, but we will see. And later on News 3 Now at 5 I should say, from saving on new calculators to where prices are for the best school supplies, we talk with experts on how to save on back-to-school shopping.
Plus, some new parents can suffer from a condition known as mommy wrist, what it is, and how to avoid it while holding your newborn.
And on Wall Street now, very little movement to start out the week. The Dow is down 34 points, the Nasdaq gained just under 7, and the S&P 500 picked up half a point.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
If you're a parent or a caretaker of a new or growing baby, you may have something that's called mommy wrist. You may have heard of this. It's a condition when the tendons around your thumbs get irritated, and that leads to pain in your wrists, hands, and thumbs. This pain comes from dipping your wrist and lifting your thumb when you're picking up and holding a baby. Hand therapist Carly Titus from SSM Health recommends wearing a splint and using some of your larger muscles.
I would tell my partner, make a loose, curl your fingers in loosely, rest that thumb on the side, and then just keep your wrist nice and strong so that we're not, dipping into those planes.
Caretakers should try lifting the baby with a scooping motion to keep your wrists in a neutral position. And doctors recommend putting your baby in a carrier whenever possible and alternating which side you hold them on.
Well, now to a look at the full firstborn forecast. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us now with a possible break from the rain soon. Hi, Alex.
Hi there. Eventually, we'll see that break a little bit later tonight, but keeping an eye on thunderstorms that are popping up in parts of southern Wisconsin that we're keeping a very close tab on for the potential for an isolated spin up or a funnel cloud. We have had nothing confirmed at this point in time, but if we can actually take our live Queen Bee radio Skycam full, we're keeping a very close eye on the clouds, as you see, are very, very close to the ground. Haven't seen a funnel cloud or a wall cloud yet, but the National Weather Service has confirmed that this environment in southwest Wisconsin is primed for the potential there, at least, for an isolated spin up tornado or a funnel cloud. So we're keeping a very, very close view on our Queen Bee radio Skycam. And this is that cell just south of Platteville near the Smelser area. And as it continues to slowly race off towards the north and towards the east, shouldn't say race, we're keeping an eye on as to whether or not there's any rotation. We look at the wind tracker. I'm not seeing any green against red. So if there is any rotation at this point in time in that southernmost cell in Grant County, it'd be very weak at this point in time, which is certainly good news. Been keeping an eye on a similar situation up near the Boscobel area to Muscadet, to south and west of Lone Rock near the Highland area. Any thunderstorm over southwest Wisconsin has that potential for that brief spin up. Seeing more in the way of what we call training of thunderstorms as I put this into motion, stretching from Monroe over to Bronhead, over to Janesville, over towards Whitewater. As we go back over the course of the last hour, take note of thunderstorms repeating over and over and over the same area. So heavy rainfall and gusty winds would be the main threats right now with these storms stretching from Greene County over towards Rock County, eventually over towards Walworth County, and widening things out across southern Wisconsin. The greatest concentration of thunderstorms are from the Wisconsin River Valley, right along I-94 and areas south towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. And again, we can't rule out the potential is there for a brief spin-up tornado because we have an area of low pressure up near the La Crosse area, and that provides a little bit of rotation, a little bit of twist in the atmosphere. Hopefully we don't see any severe weather this evening, but that isolated threat is there. And I think Future Track is doing a good job capturing those few thunderstorms, especially along the Wisconsin River Valley area east over to the I-94 corridor. And as we march through the evening, 7, 8 o'clock, those thunderstorms eventually start to push off towards the south and east as we head towards the 10 o'clock newscast. Can't rule out that heavy rain, can't rule out that gusty wind and that potential for a brief spin up. And the Storm Prediction Center does also support that isolated threat of severe weather, primarily from the Wisconsin River Valley off towards the south and towards the east as we go into the evening hours. A lot of information just given to you there. Here, let's recap that. Early storms from today, pushing the main threat of that thunderstorm activity over far southern Wisconsin. Eventually, those isolated strong storm chances will eventually fizzle as we get towards the mid to late evening hours, and then those storms will end overnight. Sarah was asking, when can we have that break from all the shower and all the thunderstorm activity? We just got to get through this evening, and then we got sunny skies from left to right in the 10-day forecast coming up at 6 o'clock, provided we don't have any severe weather, and I hope not. We will talk a little bit more about our chances for being below normal going out into the end of the month, and what are those chances and how high are they? I'll let you know coming up at 6.
All right, Alex, thank you. Well, it's training camp season, as you know, at Lambeau Field, as the Packers are hard at work getting ready for the upcoming season.
That's right. The battle for left tackle heats up, and injuries are slowing some progress.
News 3 Now's senior Packer writer Jason Wilde has more from Lambeau.
How you doing, everybody? Greetings from rainy and cloudy Lambeau Field. The Packers' competition at left tackle has not played out the way Matt LaFleur and his coaching staff had intended for it to when they started training camp. Jordan Morgan versus Rasheed Walker hasn't materialized, even though the competition's been going on. First, early in camp because of injuries elsewhere, Jordan Morgan was working at guard instead of left tackle. Then, when both he and Walker were ready to compete, Walker suffered a groin injury in practice and has done very little 11-on-11 work since. This week is when it should change. The Packers did not do 11-on-11 today because Jordan Love was working through some 7-on-7 work to protect his thumb as he practiced 6 days after surgery. But the hope is both of those players can be at their best so they can compete this week. And Jordan Morgan has been fantastic in the first 2 preseason games. You can read about that for free, along with all the rest of our Packers coverage at channel3000.com. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, which delivers our Packers coverage directly to your inbox every single day. That's it from here. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, thank you, Jason. And budgeting for back to school? Well, we have some tips on how to save on supplies, plus stores in our area that offer the best deals on pencils, erasers, and other supplies.
And then we've come to the end of our Stuff the Bus Back to School campaign. We'll tell you how your donations are helping area students and what you can still do to help us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Tariffs are pushing up prices on some academic year staples.
CBS Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady has your guide to cutting the cost of back-to-school supplies.
From dorm decor to laptops to pencils and backpacks, families are feeling the back-to-school pinch. K-12 families are expected to spend $858 on average this year. 74% of consumers say they're shopping earlier because of tariffs, with an uptick in families hunting for sales and shopping at discount stores.
People are worried about being able to afford the things they need for school.
Shopping and lifestyle expert Trey Baj says retailers are trying to lure shoppers with bargains.
So what are some of the deals that we're seeing here?
So at Target, we have 50-cent erasers, 35-cent notebooks, and they brought back their $5 backpacks from last year.
$5?
Isn't that cute?
It's not just Target. Walmart has scientific calculators starting at $10, school uniform polos for $4, and a lunch meal for under $2 a day. Office Depot has notebooks, crayons, and glue sticks starting at 50 cents. Staples has folders for 25 cents, pencils for 50 cents, and binders for $2. Don't forget to price compare even while you shop, especially for big ticket items.
This is priced here at $269. When I scanned it on the Target app, it's $219, and they'll honor this price.
I mean, that's a savings of $50.
Yeah, that's huge.
While Target and Walmart will only price match from their own website, Office Depot, Staples, and Best Buy will price match competitors.
When it comes to electronics, especially since so much of them are imported, what's your advice?
I would look for sales, of course, and then also consider refurbished. A lot of retailers offer refurbished items that also come with a warranty, and that's a really good option if you're looking to save.
For older kids, a life lesson about saving.
A really good way to manage your budget and manage their spending is to give them a gift card. So they will be much more careful spending their money versus your money.
And for college kids, talk to roommates before move-in day to decide on shareables for common areas, including dishes, a coffee maker, and cleaning supplies. And many retailers, including Apple and IKEA, offer college student discounts.
Remember, your savings should actually start before you hit the stores. Check your inventory at home to make sure you're not spending money on something you already own. And also check out Buy Nothing groups on social media for freebies and team up with other families to make purchases in bulk. Kelly O'Grady, CBS News, New York.
Experts also recommend saving some money for clothes to use after school starts so that if kids see things they like on their classmates, parents still have a budget for shopping.
Well, as many kids get ready to go back to school, we want to give a massive shout out to our News 3 Now viewers who once again helped us stuff the bus. As part of our News 3 Now back to school drive, we exceeded the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County's local goal of getting enough donations to help 500 students get the things they need to succeed. In fact, over the course of 2 weeks, we received enough donations to help 560 students.
We're so grateful again to all of our sponsors, you guys, Midwest Financial Group, Kindness Bank, Walgreens, Lemurs Buses too, for just stepping up and helping us with this initiative.
And there are still volunteer opportunities available this week to help sort all of the supplies before distribution day on Thursday. To learn more about how you can still help the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County, just go to this story on channel3000.com.
And thank you everybody so much for your help this year. What was a great campaign. Well, I got a final check of the weather when we come back.
Tonight, a price war is brewing among makers of those weight loss drugs known as GLP-1s. What will it mean for cutting pounds and cutting costs? Dr. Celine Gounder has the details. And Skylar Henry introduces us to a Georgia football team that proves success is not measured by what you do, but how you recover. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And coming up at 6, it's been 20 years since a deadly tornado ripped through Stoughton. Arman Rahman talks to members of the community about how they have rebuilt and also the damage that remains.
Mom, can I get a face painting? Mom, can I deep fry those? Mama, the corn dog took my teeth.
Oh, are they priceless? This is the mom calling competition that wrapped up over the weekend at the Iowa State Fair. And those 3 contestants that you heard tied for first place. Each child got a blue ribbon for showing off their mom calling skills, along with $5 for face painting, deep fried foods, or corn dogs.
I love how they call it mom calling.
Yeah.
That isn't a child nagging or screaming.
Exactly.
Mom calling. That's so nice. Anyway.
Good news, right? Transition
The moms
here.
are like,
All the storms right now are below severe levels, so that's certainly good news. And we also have an eye on them with our First Warn Skycam network. Let's take a look at our live Queen Bee Radio Skycam as we speak right now. The showers and thunderstorms that have been down near the Dickeyville area that have prompted some interest in the potential for a brief funnel cloud or a brief spin up. Those showers have since weakened at this point in time, keeping an eye on a couple isolated showers with a rumble of thunder up near the Muscadet area over towards the Highland area, and then more of a concentration of showers and thunderstorms near the Janesville area, with heavy rains being the primary threat. Thinking the shower and thunderstorm activity is really going to eye up the Wisconsin-Illinois border and areas off towards the south and towards the east this evening. And at 6, we'll have the very latest update on Future Track when you join us again at 6.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks for joining News 3 Now at 5. We have CBS Evening News up next.
We'll see.